Hey everybody, and welcome to Live Coding with Jesse. Today we're going to do some styling of our new React project. We're using GraphQL to get data from WordPress, and we just had a massive pull request that I merged in a few hours ago. So let's briefly go through what's changed from that pull request. You can check it out at the repo. There's a link in the description. It'll be pull request number 2. Okay, it's already closed because it's been merged, but you can check that out if you want to look through the files on your own. I'm just going to kind of try to summarize it because it's quite large, so definitely it would take a long time to go through all the lines that have changed. So Harshit submitted this request. Basically, it merged what he had done in pull request 1, which we did go over last week. So he just closed pull request 1 and then added all the changes into 2. So in addition to the things that were added before, now MaterialUI, the beta version of MaterialUI, the newer version that we were trying to get working on Friday, is now working. It's all set up. There's a layout component. Let me show you what it looks like as I'm describing it. So here we go. So he actually set up a temporary WordPress installation to grab data from. So now actually I had an old test install of WordPress that I hadn't really been using for anything, so I just pulled it in. It just has some well, it has bacon ipsum, so instead of lorem ipsum it has the names of different cuts of meat, and I grabbed some of these images from Unsplash. So that's like the big picture of what's changed. There's so much more, so I definitely recommend, if you really want to understand what changed, go through some of the, at least some of the pull requests to see, you know, line by line what did change. I had made some changes in addition to that. So Harshit's API had, for every post there was an image, but mine didn't. So initially when I tried to pull things in, it didn't work. I was getting an error. So I just simply added in a check to see if there was an image, and if there was, then we try to render the image. If not, we don't try to render the image at all. In this case, we actually don't even we don't even render this whole section of the card. So you'll see in a second, if you're not familiar with this particular component in MaterialUI, it would try to render, it'd basically be a big blank area. So we just completely pulled that out. So I'll show you that now. I think it's in the post detail. Is it? No, post preview, that's what it is. Okay, so you can see there are a lot more components in here than there were last week. Let's see. Oh, here it is. Okay, so we just did this. Basically, we're just checking to see if an image URL has been passed in from the parent component. And then if not, we don't do anything. If there is one, then we render it. And I believe the parent component would be here. Yeah. So in the parent component, we do a check to see if there was an image. See, so we're either passing in or not passing in the image URL. Okay. All right, so that's basically it. Other than setting up the GraphQL plugin on the old WordPress installation and updating some other plugins, that's pretty much all that was done. So let's see. Let's go to. So that is all that was done by me, I should clarify. I do want to start oops, not CSS. Let's start with our app.js. And no, it's not there. Oh, sorry, layout. I wanted to start from where we're first bringing in MaterialUI. So you can see we have a layout component now, and that's where we're importing a bunch of stuff from MaterialUI. And then we have some styles in line here. I shouldn't say inline, but in component styles. All right, and then here's where we have like our app bar and our toolbar and our title. Right, so these are things that every page needs. Here we go. Here's our drawer. So that side navigation drawer here, that's also in the layout and controlled here. So what we'll end up doing is we'll list out the categories here as well. Here we go. See, and then this is where we pull in the content from the views. So let's check out our home view now and what this looks like. Let's see, so we're pulling in layout. Everything is wrapped in layout now. So everything that was in layout is going to get applied. We also have helmet. So React helmet, and this allows us to change the title, right? Because normally within a component we don't have access to the stuff that's in the in the top of the HTML document. But with helmet, we do have access to it, and we actually can do, at some point we could probably even move this to the layout component and pass in a prop for the title if we wanted to clean it up even more. It's not really a big thing, but it might save us a few lines. So we'd save a line of code up here and a few down here. So we may end up doing that. And alright, so I mean that's basically it. You know, we see the post detail page is the same thing, laid out the same way. The category page right now lists it out, post in category 1. But what we'll end up having when we actually hook up the real data for this, we're going to have so many posts that it'll be way too many to put on a page like this. So I mean, this works. It works for now, but we have, I think we definitely have hundreds of posts already. So we'll have the categories listed down the side, and then when you click a category, it'll have, each page will be like a single category page. But this looks, I mean, this is pretty amazing how much Harshit got done in just a day or two. So thank you so much for that. This gives us like a huge jump start. So yeah, and I just checked the live chat now. I see Harshit mentioned downgrading WP GraphQL. So in fact I did. We had a little bit of discussion on Friday about it, and Harshit had recommended downgrading. I really kind of wanted to see, like, well, could I make the latest version work? And right after the stream, I spent a little bit of time checking it out, and I decided to go with Harshit's advice and just downgrade, and that it worked. So for now, we're going to do it like that. Later on, I don't know. We'll see. I actually may want to have the authentication, but right now, since we're just testing, I really don't want to add in that whole extra element of complexity and having to use like JSON web tokens or something. That's just gonna. I feel like at this point I want to get it developed out more, you know, kind of tangibly what we can see, and then we can tackle the authentication. I still need to get in contact with someone about the single sign-on and see, you know, what what that's going to involve and integrating that with our project. So there's just too many things I don't know yet about how that's going to work. So we're just going to put that off until later on. Okay. I'm just checking the live chat briefly, see if there's anything I should respond to right now. Okay. Oh, alright. Also, Harshit reminded me to start the ngrok server. So I'm starting that right now, and I will copy the link in. So if you're not familiar with the ngrok server, this basically lets you all test out what I have here that I'm running on localhost. So if you click the link that I just pasted in the live chat, you can see this, you can inspect it, you can use your DevTools. So if you have React installed with your Chrome DevTools, you'll be able to see that. If you have the DevTools that you use with GraphQL, you can see that. It even responds to the Redux DevTools as well, because Redux is doing its thing behind the scenes of Apollo. So, I mean, it's a little bit different than you'd normally see in React State, right? Because Apollo understands all this going on, but it's not really like friendly for people to read quite as much as if you'd make your own store. But you can go in here to Apollo stuff and check all this stuff out and check out your queries. So it's kind of nice because then it can be more interactive. You could actually check out what's going on in real time. Okay, so here's what we're going to do today. I know that was kind of a long intro. It's like a 15-minute intro, but we had a significant pull request, so definitely needed to go over some of those changes. So here's what we want to do. We definitely need to change the color scheme to match the university color scheme. We'll probably add the university logo in here somewhere. Maybe up here. We'll see. We'll see. It makes the most sense. And we're gonna change up. Let me go to the home page here. So let's try to get the categories listed down the side. And this is actually perfect. The size and everything. But I also want some other view options available. So we're going to see if we can get some icons over here so that users can select some of the other options. We'll just see how it's going. I'd like to get 2 Pomodoro sessions in if I can, but since I'm starting my first session so far into the stream, we'll just have to see how it goes. I have a meeting coming up in about an hour. So I don't want to be late for that. When the head of my department will be in the meeting, so definitely don't want to mess around. And I need to get a little bit of data to present at that meeting, so it will be a shorter stream than normal. But hopefully we can get something useful in. So I'm gonna stop talking about this and get to the stream. Let's see. Alright. So we should probably check the documentation for MaterialUI first. And I guess the first thing we could do that'll hopefully be pretty easy is just change some of the colors. So actually, now that I think about it, I don't think we need to check the documentation since we have in the layout page we have a lot of styles here. It's probably here somewhere, so let's just check it out. App frame, let's see, app bar. There'd be color here. The only color thing I see here is this background color, but it looks like that's for the content. So let's make sure Alright, so we will check out the documentation. So probably theme. Theme. Let's see how we're bringing this in. I just glanced at the live chat and saw Brett said this demo is making me hungry. Yeah, it is. I actually just got off the phone with tech support for Google Fi, and the woman on tech support was super nice, and she was telling me about what she had for lunch, and she made this pasta with Alfredo sauce from scratch. She was telling me how she made it with heavy cream and stuff. I'm like, if anybody's vegetarian or vegan, I'm not trying to upset you. If it is really offensive to somebody, let me know. I can change it up. But this was just what I already had in here from a while ago. So I know my brother's a vegan, so I guess I have to think about that all the time now in case if he's going to be over, I can't put meat in anything. Alright, okay, so we want dark light theme, we want... I don't think we're set up right now with a theme. Right? So we're not pulling that in. That would probably be the way we want to go. Oh, actually, no, we are pulling... Maybe I'm just missing it. Alright, let's see. Haha. Brett says there is not a vegan Ipsum yet. Alright. Okay, so in case you're not following what I'm trying to do here, I was basically looking for if we had pulled in something like this from MaterialUI styles, but it looks like we're pulling in with styles from MaterialUI styles. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure if we could change these. I guess we could try. Let's see. Alright, so I was looking for something that was matching up with what we were already changing in here. Alright, so let's keep looking a little bit. I guess we could try to override. I'd rather not override for the colors because we're going to have a certain color palette that we want to be applied throughout. Now I see if it says something. Nope, that's not what I wanted. I thought we were going to start out with something easy, and it turns out it's not so easy. Okay, well then let's let's just start here with this theme then, and maybe we'll implement this. Alright, so actually, so Harshit is saying theme is the right way to do it. So just for me, so I'm clear, Harshit, so do you mean should we go with adding this in and wrapping everything in this MUI theme provider, or are you saying that basically what we have going on here is sufficient and I can just add into this and it would work? Okay, so 10 Damer says you should wrap your app in the MUI theme provider. Harshit says theme. Okay, so this will apply throughout. Okay, so I'm getting it's like I'm getting, it seems like, conflicting advice here. I guess that for now, let's just try to put in something into the current theme object and see if it'll change some stuff. So let's just copy. Let's see. I want to find somewhere. There we go. Primary. So I'd like to take. All right. This is nested inside. I'm gonna take this palette. I'm trying to find where it ends, but it just is not ending. All right, let me let me just move this to the other screen, and I'll just type it out a bit. All right, so let's see. Styles theme. P-A-L-E-T-T. And primary, let's see. We do primary and, oh goodness. I really would rather not have to manually put all these in. For now, let's see. Let's see. Is it 21412A? Is that it? I can't believe I can't remember what that hex color is. Nope. Link text decoration. Forgot the comma. Let's try it out. Alright, so nothing changed. Nothing changed from that. I mean, you'd think that'd be the primary color, right? Okay. Alright, so now Harsh is saying we could import. So let's import this. Styles. Now, should I also import with styles, or are we gonna get rid of that and replace it with some of this? Let's wrap. Where we at? Yeah, let's wrap everything in that. What did I do? MUI. Oh, okay. Messed up on the capitalization. There we go. Alright. Let's see. Okay, so Harshit's pasting in some some code for me here. So let me put this in. Whoops. Okay. Alright, so now let's bring this in. Let's see. Okay, well, it didn't change that, but we didn't get errors, so I guess that's okay. It's okay for now. Alright, so now let's see what's... Let's see. Oh, okay. I did not put the theme in down here. Thanks, Harshit. If you're just joining and you didn't see the beginning, so Harshit submitted a pull request over the weekend that implemented this MaterialUI v1, and so that's why I'm getting a lot of advice from him, because I didn't implement this, so I'm just trying to learn as we go. And while I'm not normally an expert at things, I'm usually not quite this clueless. But I'm benefiting greatly from Harshit in this stream. So, yay! All right, it works. Great. All right, so already over a half hour into the stream, and we got our first thing to work. Okay, awesome. So now at least we know that this is set up in a way that, you know, we can go ahead and change a lot of things in our theme like this. Obviously, I wouldn't want every one of these values to be green, but I don't want to try to calculate this on my own. I'll probably try to find, I'm sure there's some material design calculator where I can pop in the base color and it'll produce all these for me. So alright, so we have the color in here. That was that was step one. That's what we wanted to do first. So let's do some. What should we do? Let's see if we can put in a logo and maybe some of our some icons up here. So we haven't tried to deal with icons yet in this new version of Material UI, so maybe we can figure out how to do that. Let's figure out how to do that first, since that's kind of new. I mean, putting an image in is probably not going to be that hard. That's kind of basic. Let's see. Whoops. So I guess we'll go to the app bar component. So let's check this out. I'm looking for where the Material UI documentation is. I moved it over on the other screen. Also, I just remembered that I'm blocking my timer, so you all can't see it with my with my face. Okay, let's see. So we want the components and the app bar, and I guess we'll want to check app bar with buttons. Yep. So we don't exactly want a button. We want to put icons there, but it should be similar. There we go. I think if we just put an icon button, yeah, let's just try to throw an icon button over there and see what it does. So we'll need to bring in, let's bring in the icon button first. So we need the icon button. Actually, we need the icons as well. So we don't want the menu icon. We want some other icons. Icon button. Actually, we're already pulling that in, so I didn't check first. And instead of the menu icon, I want, there's got to be some type of reference for all the icons. So let's see where they talk about the icons. These icon fonts, feature icons. Let's see if they list the icons. Okay, so I guess if I just look them up at the regular Material Icons place, then the names will be the same. So I don't want that. What is it? Can't remember what it's called. What's it called where it has the 3 dots vertical? That's what I want. I don't know what it's called. I know it has to be in here because you see it on Google Apps all the time. Let's see. Ellipse. Alright, let me try to type in some of these suggestions. Dang it, it's not that. I probably have it downloaded somewhere on the SVG version already. I should just check my downloads folder. There we go. Wow, okay. More. Alright, that's what it's called. So I'm guessing I can just type more vert and it will work. Let's try that. What are the names? Probably I have to type in more vert icon. Maybe. We'll see. Maybe it'll work. Alright, so let's grab this. Should have this icon button. And put it in down here where our, not there, we want the app bar. Where's our app bar? App bar. Okay. So we'll want it after, we want it before toolbar? Yeah, we want it before toolbar but after typography. So I don't want it to have the class of menu button. We'll probably want to put some styles on it at some point, but for now let's take that out. And it's not, say more for now, and more vert. So now let's see if that works. Hey, okay, so it kind of worked. So we got this in here, it works. It's just on this side. So let's see how they did it here. Probably they have some type of styling. What do they call this one? For the login button. I think they used a flex 1 on this, and I don't think we're using flex 1 on that. We'll check it out. So our typography. Flex. Alright, let's check out our theme here and see if we have a flex class. If not, we'll add it. No, I don't think we do. Alright, let's add a flex class up here. And in our flex class, we just want to say flex 1. Alright, so this is, it's basically going to make it take up the space, as much space as it can in this container. And who else? Actually, isn't John Hansen's pretty good about Flexbox stuff. So if he's watching, I don't think I've seen him, but if he's watching, you can correct my Flexbox knowledge here. And oh, I didn't actually add that onto the component. So let's do that. So down here, we're going to add a class name of classes. Oops, that's not what we have, right? What did we call it? Did we call it classes? I guess we did. Classes flex. There we go. Okay, so now we have it over here on the side. Awesome. Cool. We even got a nice little click effect there. Great. Okay, so I'm learning a lot more about using Flex because I'm doing some React Native stuff for my Udacity course, and I guess when you're doing React Native, you have to do everything with Flex. You can't use like other CSS positioning things, and so yeah, so that's cool. Alright, so we have that icon here. For now, I'm cool with this icon. We'll probably want to add some more icons. Let me show. It's been a while, I think, since I've shown what we're trying to upgrade. So let me make sure there's nothing So this is like a private site. So as long as there's nothing that can't be public here. Alright. Yeah, I think we're good. So let me show this. So right now this is what we're going off of. So you can see, you know, we have this week's bulletin up here. We have some menu icons. So we have different views. We have a print view. We have a view that's like a grid. So it looks more like Pinterest. And we can search. So we'll have some icons up here, a few more icons. And then we have our categories here. And we also have some filters. And we have another view type down here, classic mode. And we'll have we have a submit announcement form. So that's what we're going to end up having in here. And let's see, depending on how things go and how much time we have, I would like, oops, my time's up here. We'll do 5 minutes of question and answer. But depending on how it goes, I would like to maybe give the user some more control over the options of what view do they want to show by default. Things like that. Maybe giving the ability to like star certain things or bookmark them, like save them for later. So they'll have their own section of, you know, like maybe bookmarked announcements. But that does kind of depend on what happens with the single sign-on and how that all works. Right now, with the way I'm signing users on, I could store data and get that for users, but since that may change in the near future, I'm not really going to do anything with it right now. So let's do a short break. Let me check the time. Okay, so we'll see. We might not get that much more done actually, because I didn't realize my timer had gone off, and I think I went over a lot for that Pomodoro session. So yeah, we'll see. We might not do another session, which is very abnormal. We usually at least do 2, but I do want to make sure I can get, oops, where's my, I was trying to get my comments up on my other screen, so okay, I'm going to scroll way up to the top because I haven't really gone through the comments very much at all, and I'm going to go down through and try to answer as many questions as I can. Let's see. Okay, Jay Slay says MaterialUI is one of the worst web front-end frameworks ever. Okay. Says Semantic UI is one that I've been using heavily lately. It has a lot of nice API integrations to handle populating forms and such. Checking out. Jay Slay says, granted, I haven't used MaterialUI in about 6 months. It was really difficult to use properly as a lot of things were not working. This may have changed since. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, well, I haven't really used a lot of different UI frameworks for React. So we did use the old version of MaterialUI for the last project, and this is the latest version. So I imagine there is a lot that has changed in the last 6 months, at least with the latest version. The old version is probably pretty similar to what it was. So I'm very much still learning it. I like it because it uses material design, and so that helps me out. If I use another framework, I would have to spend more time styling it differently than the default styles to make it look more like the material design style that we use here at the university. For other side projects, it wouldn't be a problem. But that's why we're going with MaterialUI now. There are a few other material design frameworks out there, so I'm open to trying them as well. But you know, if this works out, at some point I'd like to just stick with one and get really good at it. Right now I'm still kind of in the phase where I'm searching for one that I really like. So yeah, any suggestions are definitely welcome. Mohammed Reza says, "Hi Jesse, this is my first time watching you online. Hey, how's it going? Thanks so much for watching. I'm glad you could catch me live. Yeah, feel free to ask any questions or comment, and I'll try to answer any questions you have." Okay. Oh, cool. So Brett says Brett was having a conversation about learning React, but I just want to read one of the comments out because it's flattering to me. Brett says, "I was struggling to learn React until I started FreeCodeCamp and built a site using Jesse's first React project." So that's really cool. I always like whenever you all let me know that you've used some stuff that we've done on the stream in your own projects. I love to look at that stuff. So if anyone has done anything like that, definitely send me a link to the GitHub repo, or if it's live somewhere online, I'd definitely like to check it out. And I'm really busy lately because of my other course that's going on, so I've been slacking on this, but I do like to give feedback. Like if you have a project and you want me to take a look at it and tell you what I think, I'm definitely down to do that. Just for those of you who have done it, if I haven't gotten back to you yet, I am really sorry. I've not forgotten about you, but I've just been working a lot. If I have free time at home to work, then I'm working on my course. So that should be over by the end of this month, and then I'll have a little bit more time. Okay, let's see what time it is. All right, so my 5-minute timer is up for questions and answers. Yeah, I think I'm not going to do another Pomodoro session. I'm just going to do Q&A because I'm scrolling through and I'm not even halfway through the live chat. So I don't think there's any way that I could do another session and get through the chat and still be able to look up the data I need for my meeting. So yeah, so we're just going to do question and answer. So I had hoped to get a little bit more done. I kind of got tripped up a little bit at the beginning in trying to implement this theme. But we got it working now, and I mean it's in place, so you can pretty much do whatever we want with the theme now. We did get this working, which that was easier than I thought. So yeah, so I guess tomorrow we'll do some more UI stuff. We'll get the logo in. We'll work on maybe some of the different views. Maybe get that like grid view layout in, get some categories in here. So it'll start looking more like it's actually going to look. And then we can tackle some of more of the behind the scenes thing, like pulling in some more data. We're definitely going to need some custom fields and make sure we can pull those in from the GraphQL API. So and then we're going to figure out how do we display those to the user. We're going to have to hook up a form, which we've done before, but we're going to have to do that again, which means we're going to need a custom server. So we'll do a server.js file. So there's a lot of stuff that we have done before, but we'll do it again, and we'll try. I always like to try to do it better, each time. So maybe we can try out some new stuff, or whatever. We'll need to do file uploads. So there's definitely some cool stuff that'll need done. And then the big thing, at least in my mind, because I'm not sure how it's going to work out, is going to be the login and potentially authentication for our GraphQL API. So that'll be fun. I'll learn a lot from that, and hopefully you all can learn from it or help me learn from it. Okay, so that's the plan coming up. I just want to tell you all, just so you know, like whether it's worth your time to watch, or if you're really good at something like that, if maybe you'll want to do a pull request or something like that. So anyway, that's the plan for now. Let me keep going through the questions in the live chat. If you do have a question, put it in there now. I think I will have time to get through all the questions. If you don't have a question, please stick around though and help answer some questions, because I definitely don't know enough to handle all the questions. Let's see. Okay, so Blake has a question. Does GraphQL take posts and content from a WordPress site and import it into the React website? Okay, so Brett responds to this saying it runs queries on the API, in this case the WordPress REST API. Yeah, okay, so I haven't looked into exactly what the GraphQL plugin that we're using does, but it seems, so Brett's saying that it actually uses the WordPress REST API to get the data initially. Okay, which, that's kind of cool. And then it sends the data. So it works just like we were using the REST API in previous projects. So we are, let me see Blake's initial question so I answer this correctly. Okay, so I wouldn't put it like that GraphQL imports them in. So you have GraphQL basically working on the WordPress side of things, so that's your API. So before, where we were calling the REST API and getting data, now we're calling this GraphQL API and getting data. So we make a call basically using, before where we were using fetch, now we're using Apollo to make the call. I mean, it's probably not an exact comparison there, but basically it's serving the same purpose. So we're using Apollo to make the call and get the data. Then once we have it in there, Apollo does some stuff behind the scenes with Redux. So you basically have the equivalent of a store that's available wherever you need it. And that's how we get the data. So hopefully that made sense in terms of how all those things interact with each other. Mohammed would like to know the best UI websites for making a website. I'm trying to see if there are some answers here. All right, so Mohammed, so first of all, it depends on whether you're using React or not. So if you are using React, then I recommend specifically a UI library that works with React, that has React components. So if you're into material design, MaterialUI, either the original version or the new version 1 beta will work. There are a few other material design libraries for React. I haven't had that much experience with them. And then there are also some other things. Like I'm pretty sure there's at least one Bootstrap library for React. So if you're familiar with using Bootstrap and other sites, I assume it works in a similar way. If you're not using React and you're making some other type of HTML, CSS, JavaScript site, then you could use, again, if you like material design, you could use Materialize. You could use Bootstrap, which is very common. Foundation is another good one. We had a recommendation earlier from JSlay to use Semantic UI. So those are just some of my suggestions of things that I've either used myself or I've seen other people use or heard good things about. So I don't know that there's one that I could say for sure this is the best one, because it definitely depends on what look you're going for with your site, right? If you really want a material design, then I don't recommend using a library that's not material design. It could work, but you'll spend a lot more time customizing it. In the same way, if you don't want material design look, then don't use Materialize or Material UI. And I just noticed a little bit further up, I had missed, JSlay says, I'm having trouble finding a good use case for React as a lot of my projects are really small one-off things. So I would say if you are trying to learn React, then it's worth it to even do small projects that don't necessarily need React, because those small simple projects will help you learn React. if you're doing a big project that's more complicated, there's a lot of other things that aren't even necessarily React things that you'll probably have to figure out, and so it'll just add to the difficulty and it'll make it harder to learn. So I recommend, do some stuff with React, really small stuff. It'll just get you used to doing certain things, the React way. So if you have the freedom to be able to use React for that, and I know if it's projects for a client or for where you work, you don't always have the ability to pick, what you're going to use. But if it's a side project and you can pick, then I definitely recommend doing that. And don't worry so much about it's too small, for React. Like, you're trying to learn it, so it's probably better that it's small. Sorry, I'm yawning again. I don't know what this is. Last week I just kept yawning during the stream all the time. I got enough sleep. I should not be yawning, but oh well. I hope I'm not making all of you yawn. Alright, let's see. The resource center, you forgot that. Yeah, I thought we used that for the resource center, but I wasn't sure if it still worked in the same way for this version. And to be honest with you, I'm pretty sure it might have been Sebastian that got that working on the resource center. So this is 2 projects in a row that we've used MaterialUI, and I haven't actually set it up myself yet. I'm very, very grateful for all the help that you all give me on here. So that probably explains why I still had to look everything up, because I in fact have never done it, even though we used it on the last project. The good thing about that though is you set it up once at the beginning of the project, and then you don't have to set it up again. So after that, it's much easier to use. Let's see. Oh, okay. So Blake is asking, so Blake asked a question about GraphQL, saying, so Blake said, but if I designed a website with HTML and React, somebody else could write the posts and images and it would automatically add to my website? Yeah, that's exactly how it works. Let's see. Yeah, so if I were to go into the WordPress, actually let me bring this over. I'll just demonstrate it. So here I am this is the WordPress installation for this. I can go into posts and let's add a new post, and let's just say okay, let's publish that and see how quickly we can get it to show up. We might have to refresh. Oh, cool. See, it's already there. So somebody could have the login info to get in here and edit these posts and have no access at all to this, and they could add data and then it would show up here. And in fact, that's the setup that we're going to have for this once this goes live. Actually more than one person in my department will have access to this. They will be in charge of putting all the content in, and then it will display here. And at that point, I'm really only involved if something goes wrong or if it doesn't show up right. So that's actually why I'm using WordPress for the content for this, so that someone who doesn't know about the code can edit posts easily. Okay, so Brett's saying, we were talking earlier about using React for small projects. Brett says the small things are hard to justify using React, but Jesse's first project actually uses jQuery a lot, and I've been mixing the two a bit, getting something to work in jQuery, then moving it to React. Yeah, actually I forgot we did do that. So we had, yeah, so that first project we built it out as a non-React site first. Then we converted it to React. I forgot that we did that. Yeah, so we basically had a backup plan because initially the deadline was really short, and then we ended up being able to launch the site a little bit later, which was nice because the site ended up being a lot better, you know, once we had some more time to work on it. But the initial plan was if we couldn't get the React site working, then it was faster to just use the just kind of build it out using jQuery, and we used MaterialUI CSS. So yeah, so that's actually kind of a fun exercise too, to take an existing site but with something else and then convert it to React. So that was fun. I like that. It was odd. Now that I go back and look at the code and I see that I'm mixing jQuery with things, I think I definitely wouldn't have done it like that now. But at the time, that allowed us to get the site up and running as quickly as we did. It definitely took longer than I anticipated, but we had a lot of changes that were not anticipated as well. So if it would have been based on initially what we were going to do for the site, it definitely could have been done a lot faster. Okay. Martin asks, do you not use semicolons in JavaScript anymore? It's a choice, right? So you don't have to. So if you want to use semicolons, that's fine. Some people really say you should use semicolons, but they're pretty much optional. There's, I think, at least one use case where you are supposed to use semicolons because it might mess things up if you don't. I can't remember offhand what that use case is. I remember looking it up just to make sure, and it was a use case that I don't know that I've ever even come across personally. So that's why I don't use semicolons. I have like automatic formatting set up with Prettier and Standard JS, and I have it set to remove all semicolons. So that's just how I like to do things. For me, if you have two pieces of code and one is shorter than the other piece of code, but they do exactly the same thing, then I'm going to go with the shorter piece of code. You know, normally that's what I'll go with. So removing all the semicolons overall makes less code, right? So that's why I like it. Just one less thing to have to type. But it's definitely your choice. Alright, so someone has in the live chat has the handle Google sucks, so I'm just gonna call him Google for right now. Says this can't be totally free. What's the catch? What do you mean totally free? Like freeCodeCamp being free or what? If it's freeCodeCamp, then yeah, it is. It's entirely free because like everybody's volunteered. So there's a lot of people that contribute their time to make all the different things that freeCodeCamp does happen. So that's why it can be free, because of everyone, you know, everyone making pull requests for things, and there's so many people working on things. So that's how it's free. So thanks to everybody who helps out with freeCodeCamp. There's a lot. I mean, I do my little thing here on YouTube, but there are so many people who have contributed so much, you know, for so long. So it definitely, if you can contribute, definitely consider doing that, because that would be awesome, and it would keep freeCodeCamp going. Oh, cool. Brett says, this is great. You can have one theme and use it for several projects. Yeah, actually, that's why when I said earlier, like, I'd like to just pick one thing and keep using it. That's the big benefit of doing that is, like, let's say I decide I want to keep using this version of Material UI. We could make our theme here, set all our colors, how we want things to be, and then just for our next project, we can just copy that over, and it'll all work, and we won't have to do that step again. So it'll definitely save some time. Oh wow. Harshit says, by the way, I'm only 15 years old and never worked on a big project. Well, honestly, Harshit, I'm super impressed that you're 15 and you're able to do all this so quickly too. I mean, like I said earlier, check out pull request number 2 and everything that Harshit did. So much stuff, and this was all over the course of, I don't know, 2 days, maybe 3 days. It seemed it really is really awesome. So I'm definitely impressed. Yeah, like, keep it up. I mean, I think you'll be a great programmer if you keep working at it, because you're already awesome. And Brett says to Harshit, says you are a competent developer at 15. Just imagine what you'll be doing at 30. Harshit says, I'm studying science right now at high school, physics and math. Cool. Yeah, that's I don't know how it is where you're at. I don't know where you're located at, Harshit, but from where I am, physics and math were always like the hardest subjects to study in high school. So you must be pretty smart. Yeah, so I'm really glad that you were contributing to my project, because I think one day down the road you'll probably be doing really awesome things, and I'll be able to say, like, hey, I worked on a project with that guy back in the day. So but that's awesome. I wish I was more productive when I was 15. I definitely was not doing anything as awesome as contributing to open source React projects. And well, YouTube didn't exist when I was 15, so I couldn't have been on YouTube. Oh, cool. It looks like, so Robert said that Harshit has some nice YouTube videos on his YouTube channel. So I'm going to have to check those out when I get a chance. So, yeah, I definitely like to see what you're working on. Kinda 808 says hello everyone. Hey, how's it going? Thanks for watching. Let's see. I got for some reason my live chat skipped all the way down to the bottom, so now I lost my place here. Alright, I'm gonna have to kind of go quickly through the rest of this because I'm coming up close to my meeting time here. Okay, so it looks like we have somebody in here has the name of someone who's famous, so I'm not sure. I didn't look it up. I'm not going to look it up just because I'm running out of time, but May or may not actually be someone famous. Oh, okay. Alright. So, I guess he's the vice president of the Indian opposition. Probably not the guy that's in the channel right now, but that's the same name. Yeah, definitely not the same guy. Alright, cool. Well, anyway, welcome, Rahul. Thanks for watching. Okay, I'm gonna try to pronounce this name. I'm apologizing in advance if I get it wrong. Anulo Wapo, Anulo. I'm sorry. So hopefully you know what I'm talking about. It says testing components built with MaterialUI is extremely difficult. Okay. I'll have to keep that in mind. Does anybody else have experience testing MaterialUI components? I definitely want to use some type of testing if we can on this project. So at this point, I'm probably going to keep going with MaterialUI, but I would like to know if anybody has experience successfully testing things. Let's see. No Beer says, Jesse, where do you host your website? .io domain. That's what I'm talking about. .io. Do I have a .io? I don't know which website that you're talking about. So my personal website, well, I guess it's professional website, is jesseweigel.com. I don't currently have an IO. Actually, it'd be cool to have an IO. Maybe I should get one. Worlds asks, do most UI frameworks work with React? You can make them work with React, but the ones that actually have React components, I think, are better. So I'd try to go with those. I've made Materialize CSS is not a React framework, but I did make it work in Project 1. You just have to be careful with some of the jQuery stuff. You really want to try not to manipulate the DOM because it messes with what React does. So it can work, but it's not ideal. But if you do want to make it work, check out Project 1 on this YouTube channel and on the live. It'll be on the Live Coding with Jesse playlist. Yeah, so check out the first project that we did, and I mean that's an example of getting a non-React framework to work with React. Hamza says, was it the first project when you set up lint stage and prettier, or the second? I don't know. Let's just check. Oops, I meant to type GitHub. Oh no, that's not it. I want CI React, not CI static. There we go. Yep, yeah, for the first project, we did have lint stage and prettier set up on that one. No Beer says, I heard that React plus Redux equals powerful. Yeah, definitely. We were actually going to use Redux for this project, but then realized that we didn't have to use Redux, and that's what Harshit had removed Redux and replaced it with all the Apollo stuff. But we'll probably end up using Redux at some point for another project. So I just used it for another project that I did for that Udacity course. And it is really cool. it was a little bit difficult to figure it all out at first, but once I got the hang of it, I could definitely see like how useful it is. Harshit asks about a link for the Slack channel. I don't currently have a link for the Slack channel that works. There's a workaround that I need to work on. I just haven't had time to get it set up yet. So I guess for now, if you really want to get in the Slack channel before I get the workaround set up, send me a message on Twitter with your email, and I can send you an invite to your email. I don't know if I could get you the invite today because I'm going to be pretty busy the rest of the day, but probably tomorrow. Okay, Harshit says there's also been some changes made in the GraphQL folder with fragments. So, yeah, I'm definitely gonna. What time is it? All right, I'm gonna have to check that out later. Okay, but I'm gonna leave this open so I don't forget to look at it. All right, I'm just gonna check. I'm not gonna read all the comments because I'm running out of time here, but I am gonna check for questions. So if I don't read your comment, I'm sorry. Just running out of time here. Oh, actually, I'm going to read this. This sounds useful. Brett says you can make your MaterialUI theme a separate Git repo and import it for each project. That sounds really good. I love that idea. Robert says, have you used MaterialUI with routing in React project? That's the point where I get stuck. Yeah, so we have used React Router with MaterialUI. The last project that we did, well, I guess not the last one, Project 2. So Project 2 is the resource center. We use MaterialUI and React Router, and we had some routing going on there. So check that out. Maybe, hopefully that can help. And if you have any questions, let me know. Okay, so the name before that I had trouble pronouncing, he says, you can call me Anu. So, alright, I'll try to remember to call you Anu. And so, really sorry about that. I do try to pronounce everyone's name properly if at all possible. Oh, okay. So earlier, Nobir was asking about the .io site, and that's the ngrok site. So that's a it's a thing you run. I'm running it on my computer. It basically takes whatever I'm running with on localhost, and it converts it into a live URL that people can go to check it out. So normally you can't have this many people on ngrok looking, like by default from the free plan. But the guy that runs ngrok, he is letting us use it for free for freeCodeCamp streams. So very generous of him. So anyway, that's why you all can see that. So it's not like my site personally; it's through ngrok. Alright, so one more question and then I have to go. I'm getting some Slack messages from my boss. So, Ando says, have you tried to test the MaterialUI component, a full DOM with Jest and Enzyme? Okay. What did we do? We had some testing going on with MaterialUI on Project 2. So, I mean, if you want to check out some of the videos from Project 2, or even check out the repo for Project 2, that was the resource center. We were using MaterialUI, and we did have some testing going on, so maybe that'll have something useful for you on there. But alright, so at this point I definitely have to go. Thanks so much for all your help and for all the contributions here in the live chat. I will be back tomorrow, and until then, have a great day.